Hey there, I'm professional psychic and astrologer Karen Marie. This is Sunday, January 25th. I'm in Austin, Texas. Welcome to my terrarium. I have my grandbaby asleep in the room that I usually record in, and it's below freezing here in Austin, Texas. So I have brought in all my plants. What you see behind me is just a sampling of what I've got in the house right now. I wanted to start off talking about last week's astrology, just a brief, uh, because we had Venus, Mercury, and the Sun all conjunct Pluto. It was very intensive. And then we also had Cazimes, which is when a planet is conjunct the Sun. Mercury and Pluto were conjunct the Sun. This brings a lot of intensity, let me just say, and we certainly witnessed that. Let me share my screen here. I have pulled up a chart for right now being 5 p.m. in Austin, Texas. Okay. Um, so we have a huge stellium right now in Aquarius. Let me blow this up a little bit more. So we have the asteroid Astrea. Now, Astrea was on this planet before it got dense and toxic. And when it started getting toxic here, she's like, and I'm out of here. And she left and she actually became a constellation. That's sort of the story behind Astrea. We have Mars at 2 degrees of Aquarius, Pluto at 3 degrees and 30 minutes, the Sun at 5 degrees and 50 something minutes. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really tell. Vesta is at 7 degrees. Vesta is an asteroid that, in my mind, um, represents where we've sacrificed ourselves for others in past lives and where we could be sacrificing ourselves in this lifetime. We have Mercury at 8 degrees and 56 minutes, Venus at 10 degrees and 36 minutes, and Chariklo at 20 degrees and 59 minutes. Chariklo was the wife of Chiron, the wounded healer, and it was said that she could heal people with her presence. So, I mean, the main planets we have here: Venus, Mercury, Sun, Pluto, and Mars. That's quite the stellium, even if you don't include the asteroids. Now, so let's just talk about Aquarius. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac. It is representing of humanity vibing together. It's large groups of people, your tribe, your social circles, wherever you get together with three or more people. It doesn't have to be large groups, but anytime there's three or more people, that's Aquarian energy. Aquarius is an air sign. All air signs concern themselves with communication with others, right? And Aquarius rules upper level technology, so space travel and um, robotics and AI and that kind of thing. Um, it is a fixed earth sign. So, fixed meaning, if you know any Aquarians, once they make up their mind about something, they don't change it very easily. You hear my experience, the Aquarians that I've known in my life is like, you can't really convince them of anything if they've already convinced themselves of something, like make up their mind and then they stick to it. It is the lover of the unique, the different, what lies outside of the box. It's the maverick. The ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and Uranus likes to shake things up, wants to wake us up. Aquarius represents the new, whereas Capricorn represents the old. So, new, innovative, leading edge, that kind of energy. So, when we have all this energy in Aquarius, there's going to be a lot of people with strong opinions with that fixed energy. They're going to be outside of the box, like, what? How did you draw that conclusion? Like, just stuff that just seems off the wall, right? So we'll start with Monday's astrology. The notice here, Neptune is at 29 degrees and 59 minutes of Pisces. This is the very last minute of the zodiac wheel. Any planet at 29 degrees in any sign is at the anaretic or the testing degree. Neptune has been here for a while. It did bop up into Aries some point last year, and then it retrograded back into Pisces. It's just stayed at this 29-degree part. The minutes have gone back and forth, but this is a wrapping up of the old. Um, it takes Neptune 165 years ish to get around the entire zodiac. So it is wrapping up a long cycle that started in April, April 13th to be exact, of 1861. That's when Neptune last entered Aries, which is the beginning of a brand new cycle. So tomorrow at 11:34 a.m. Austin, Texas time, Neptune will move into Aries, right? And then it'll spend about 13 years moving through Aries. This is dramatic to be at this very last degree of the entire zodiac. It's been moving through Pisces since 2011. So you can think back to what kind of things have you been working through in your life since 2011. Pisces represents the whole range of energy from addictive, checked out, delusional to psychic, enlightened, spiritual. Like the whole range of human potentiality is really Pisces, represented in two different fish. So, especially in the realms of like spiritual growth, psychic development, like have you been noticing a shift or change since 2011 in these areas of your life? What about any addictions that you're wrestling with? Neptune also dissolves, it can take things away. Neptune also is about dreams, literal dreams when you're sleeping at night, but also like artistic, creative dreams. Pisces also has this strong emphasis around the creative arts and things that are inspired by the divine, like channeled works of art. Great artists and musicians and writers of all times usually have a strong spiritual or psychic bent to them. So the last time Neptune moved into Aries was on April 13th, 1861. On April 12th, the day before, that's when the Confederate forces fired on Fort Sumner. So the Civil War was beginning as Neptune moved into Aries last time around. Other important events that happened while Neptune was in Aries, and it was in Aries from 1861 to 1875. So I've written some notes that I'm referring to here. We had the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. In 1865 is when the Civil War ended. It's also the year that President Lincoln, was assassinated. In Also in 1865, the Ku Klux Klan, or the KKK, was created. We also had the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and the United States purchased Alaska in 1867. These are just some of the important things that happened when Neptune last moved into Aries. Aries is the pioneer. It's the unique. It's the new. It's the different. It's exploring things inspired, like listening to your own impulses and your own intuition. Aries is classically impulsive. Like if you know any Aries, they can often blurt out something before they even think about it. They can impulsively jump into things. And we all have all 12 signs in our charts. We have each sign ruling a different aspect of your chart. So even though your sun sign may be in a certain sign and your moon in another and your rising, those are the three most important signs. We all have all the signs in our chart. Even if you don't have any planets or points or asteroids in a sign, you still have a sign ruling a certain aspect of your chart. So we all have all 12 signs. That's why when people say, I don't really buy into astrology, they haven't dug deep enough, because if you dive deep, there is so much to learn. Right now, we have Ceres, which is a nurturing asteroid. It's like a mother goose hook. This represents, in Aries is like new ways to nurture yourself. Aries is also your sense of self. It's your personality. It's your vitality. It's your passion for things. Aries are typically courageous. and wanting to do things in a unique, different way. Kind of like Aquarius. Aries wants to be the first one there, is not afraid to go where other people have not gone before. And of course, the ruler of Aries is Mars, the god of war. So any planets moving through Aries, like the sun just moved through Aries, I mean, the moon just moved through Aries, it can stir up unresolved anger issues within people. I mean, we had the shooting yesterday of another citizen of the United States. Um, and that's classic with these people that are in charge of power over other people. I think a lot of them have unresolved anger issues. A lot of the ICE people and the people in the, I forget the name of the federal agency besides ICE that are working to expel um, illegals from our country right now, and they're doing a lot of damage to the United States citizens as I see it. But this is all like volatile energy stirred up. It also is classic with all these planets, especially Pluto being in Aquarius. Um, Pluto is about power and control issues, death and transformation. So anytime all these planets are conjuncting or interacting with Pluto, like we had this past week, is going to bring up issues of power and control. Um, right now, the midheaven is in Aries. If from Austin, that's not really anything to look at. But we have Chiron at 22 degrees and Eris at 24 degrees. So Chiron will be moving closer and closer to Eris. This is also, Chiron is the wounded healer. It shows up where we've had wounding in past lives. And um, the glyph looks like a key. We're supposed to be healing the areas of woundedness. And since Chiron has been moving through Aries, the first house, it's about healing your sense of self and how you see yourself and whether or not you care or not if how other people perceive you. That's one of the things we're all collectively working on healing. And then Eris is about standing up for our rights. She is volatile. She's a warrior. So it's interesting that there's these two coming closer and closer together. So back to Neptune tomorrow at 11:34 a.m. moves into Aries. So this is a powerful shift. And like I said, it'll take Neptune about 164, 165 years to go around the entire zodiac. So this is, I mean, we won't see the whole transit of Neptune through all the signs in our lifetime, right? This is just a powerful, powerful new beginning. Now, Saturn is also going to be following close behind. It's at 28 degrees of Pisces, so it is also wrapping up the lessons of Saturn. It's been moving. It takes 2 to 3 years to move through a sign. So Saturn is where we set up boundaries and set up discipline. So again, in these areas that Pisces represents, have you created, for example, space to do spiritual practices every day, meditation, chanting, prayer, breathing deeply, whatever you do to calm your emotional body and your mind and connect with your higher self. Like that's one of the things that Saturn in Pisces is wanting us to do. Have you put boundaries around your addictive patterns and behaviors? Saturn will move into Aries on February 13th, and then on February 20th, Saturn and Neptune will be exactly conjunct at 0 degrees and 45 minutes of Aries. This is historic. The two have never been together at this degree, which is the very first degree. It's also called the world axis. All 0 degrees of all the cardinal signs is the world axis, but this is the very first degree of the entire zodiac. So this is like planting a huge seed that we will feel globally for some time to come in this warrior sign of Aries. The last two times Saturn and Neptune were conjunct was in the 80s, that they were conjunct in Capricorn, Saturn representing structure, Neptune dissolving, taking things away. The Berlin Wall came down at that conjunction. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen. Now, these two have been traveling close to each other for a while, so structures being pulled down, but when they're exactly conjunct on February 20th, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Also, just 3 days before on the 17th, we will have an eclipse. at 28 degrees of Aquarius. So back to this Aquarian energy that we've got going on. Um, the moon is moving through Taurus right now. On Tuesday at 2:54 p.m., these are Austin, Texas times, the moon will move into Gemini. Let me back up and show you the chart. Gemini also on Tuesday at 5:01 p.m., Mars, the god of war, and Pluto, the lord of the underworld, will be exactly conjunct at 3 degrees and 34 minutes. This is a signature for major power and control struggles. Again, this is the god of war versus the lord of the underworld. They're together in the sky, so this could be a signature for war, fights amongst people. I mean, we've already been having it. They've already been conjunct, and the sun is right there close by as well. So this could be a dicey day. I would say pause and check in with your intuition before you go out in the world, before you have any conversations with others. But standing up for your rights is one way this could show up. Mars, I'm going to take my own power back. Pluto is on the positive side, is about self-empowerment. It's about transformation, moving towards things passionately, and it's power, Pluto being power and control issues. And again, with Pluto and Aquarius, this is power should be with the people, not the top-down power over. That's an old paradigm. That's a Capricorn paradigm. Now Pluto is in Aquarius, so it is demolishing. It's like a wrecking ball, demolishing the old school structures. And those structures in our world, not just in our country, but in our world, that are based on this top-down power over paradigm are going to be crumbling. And what happens before they crumble? Like an earthquake happens. There's like things get ratcheted up. I also wouldn't be surprised if there aren't earth energies happening around, like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and major earth natural things, because this is such a intensive, powerful combo. And we've been having the sun shooting out solar flares. This is one thing I didn't mention from this last week. It's been like, whoa, could we get more powerful between what's going on with the sun and what's going on with all the planets? On Wednesday, the moon is moving through Gemini. Now, Gemini rules communications, technology, social media. It's ruled by Mercury. So it's all when Mercury goes retrograde, it's all those things that we notice glitches in. And so we can notice that we are extra chatty when the moon moves through Gemini. We can feel extra social. We can spend more time on social media or picking up the news. And the moon makes really positive aspects, trines between the sun and the moon have a trine on Wednesday, the 28th. The Mercury and the moon have a trine. Venus and the moon have a trine. These are all beautiful. The moon does square the nodes of fate as well on Wednesday. The nodes of fate, the north node is at 9 degrees of Pisces, the south node at 9 degrees of Virgo. The nodes of fate move backwards, and it takes about 18 months to move through a sign. So they're now moved into the first decan, which is the last decan of their travels through Pisces. They'll change signs this summer into Aquarius and Leo. But with the north node in Pisces, the north node points to what we're supposed to be learning right now. So it is these lessons of Pisces that I've already talked about when I talked about Saturn and Neptune being here. Spiritual, psychic growth and development, enlightenment, seeing everyone on the planet as one, the same source, plugging into source energy versus like checking out, disassociating, getting trapped in illusion, delusion, or addictions. So the North Node is pointing us to really plug into spiritual practices right now and to higher power. The South Node is what we're letting go of, releasing. And in Virgo, it can be overly perfectionistic thinking, trying to be too hard on ourselves. These are some of the ways. I won't go into too much more about this, but the moon squaring the nodes midday. It's actually early morning. It's 6:28 a.m. when it's exact. um, can be a check-in between, are we moving towards the things supposed to be moving to? Are we letting go of the things we're supposed to be letting go of? And in Gemini, maybe like letting go of some over usage of social media or tuning in too much to the news. I mean, there is your own um, personal sanity that's at play right now with all this volatile energy. I have to just take a step away. I want to know what's happening, but I just can't dive in and doom scroll and absorb as an empath. I, it's been really difficult. So if you're also empathic, meaning you pick up on the feelings of others, and there's so much chaos going down right now in the world around us, it can sometimes be difficult just to live and move through space. You can feel super funky, super depressed, super sad, not even know why, super angry, and not even know why. And it may be because you're soaking up the energy of the collective. On Thursday at 4:17 a.m., Mercury and Venus are conjunct at 14 degrees of Aquarius. Mercury represents our thinking and our communication with others, social media, the news. Venus is what we love, who we love. So this would be great for aligning what you need in your life for yourself, for being able to communicate that in relationships. It's a beautiful connection for relationships. Wednesday should also be lovely for relationships since the moon will be trining Venus and Mercury. So this is a really positive part of the week for relationships and communication and loving on yourself. At 4:31 p.m. on Thursday the 29th, the moon will move into Cancer. A Cancer moon can make us super emotionally sensitive. Cancer is our foundational emotional, where things were in our home when we were growing up, how we felt emotionally about ourselves. Were we getting emotional support from those around us? Cancer is the mother, it's the nurturer, it's the healer. All the water signs are super psychic, so we could also feel super intuitive as the moon moves through Cancer. You can, but feel things even more. Again, back to that empathy, like it can really turn up the volume on all the empaths. Friday, the moon continues moving through Cancer um, and makes a conjunction with Jupiter, which will happen at 17 degrees. Jupiter's retrograde right now. Jupiter is magnifying these energies of Cancer right now. Um, so we could all be doing flashbacks to our emotional foundations and our childhood homes. Cancer is also your home today. You might want to stay at home or um, do some home renovations with Jupiter moving through Cancer, but it can definitely be stirring up childhood issues. When the moon, this very psychic planet, connects with Jupiter, talk about strong intuitions. That'll be exact on Friday evening at 9:18 p.m. Again, with any aspects, we can feel them ahead of time, we can feel them afterwards. I'm just talking about when things are exact. On Saturday, the moon will move into Leo at 6:08 p.m. Leo rules the fifth house in the astrological wheel. This is the house of creativity and creative expression. It's the house of romance. It's the house of children, your own inner child, and any children that are in your life. People can feel more playful, want to be more social. So moving the moon moving there on Saturday evening can make for a very social weekend. But before that, when the moon is in Cancer, maybe not. Maybe you just want to stay home Friday night, Saturday night, you'll be up for going out. The big news on Sunday, February 1st, at 4:09 p.m., we'll have a full moon, which means the moon is going to be over here across the skies from the sun, which will then be at 13 degrees and 3 minutes of Aquarius. The moon will be full at 13 degrees and 3 minutes of Leo. Again, it's full at 4:09 p.m. Full moons moons full moons bring out the lunatic in people. There's a reason for the word lunatic, taken from the word luna, meaning the moon. So so watch out. Like it can be intensive as well. Full moons are a great time to let go and release anything that you're holding on to. The other things that I want to point out that's going on is Uranus here is retrograde at 27 degrees and 30 minutes of Taurus. It is conjunct by just a degree off of Algol at 26 degrees and 32 minutes. Algol is associated with Medusa's head. That and in astrology, it can we can look at historically when things have been conjunct Algol. It's a fixed star, so it pretty much stays in this area of the skies. Um, with leaders losing their heads. Uranus brings in sudden shocks and surprises and curveballs. So the fact that Uranus is so close to Algol, leaders losing their heads, figuratively or literally, can also be happening. And especially with this full moon, um, that can be intensive again with these planets conjuncting Pluto. That can also be intensive. So that's just another piece that's in the mix right now. So I'll stop sharing. Okay. So I hope that would be helpful. If you would like a private session with me where we dive into your birth chart and how the current transits are affecting you, which houses they're moving through in your chart, you would need to know your time and place of birth to know your rising sign. But even if you don't know your time of birth, we can tell a lot about what's going on for you. Typically, in an hour session, I dive into your chart for about 30 minutes, including the current transits, and then we move to tarot cards and I channel a general reading and any questions that you might have. This lunation cycle, starting with the last new moon and going to the next blue moon, which is an eclipse, I'm offering half off my services. So usually I charge $300 for an hour session. So right now, if you contact me, that's only $150. Or if you want a half hour and we shorten the amount of information that I give you, that's only 75 bucks. So if you want to take advantage of these reduced price rates, contact me. Also, check out my daily psyched updates where I post a 1 to 2 minute video of the current transits and I pull a tarot card and talk about what I get that you need to know for the day. All right. Much love. Peace.